Now, my guest on the program, Associate Professor Haresh Kumar Kantilal, is from the Faculty of Medicine at Masa University College in KL, Malaysia. Today he's talking to us about the process of cultivation of chlorella, because we all know that we're very particular about the kinds of food that we eat. A lot of people are swinging towards organic foods, of course. We're worried about insecticides and pesticides and impurities getting into our bodies vis-a-vis the food that we are eating. So the cultivation process of something like algae has to be quite pure in order for us to experience the benefits of it. So we're talking to Dr. Haresh about that message today. Dr. Haresh, you mentioned, for example, that the way around this is usually algae chlorella really has been cultivated in outdoor methods, but for mass consumption like this, we're seeing it produced in indoor heterotrophic tanks. A lot of the technology coming out of the Japan Yakult Institute and developed by people from the Japan Yakult Institute. What are we seeing then? What does this mean? If it's indoor, if it's this kind of indoor tanks, are we still getting the carbon dioxide and the light, and is it still getting the nutrients that it needs?
Okay, this is a very interesting question, because basically when we talk about outdoor, we talk about something known as autotrophic, because we talk about photoautotrophic, where this algae uses the energy of the sunlight to produce the food. But now we're moving into indoor cultivation. So when we come to indoor cultivation, there's a special term here known as heterotrophic. Now, heterotrophic basically means that now it no more uses the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, to get the carbon needed to produce the nutrients. But what happened is they use inorganic carbon. So in this case, they use sources such as acetic acid. Sorry to be a bit technical here. They use sources like 2-carbon compound acetic acid, as one of the main carbon sources, and various other compounds, as carbon sources. Now, all of this is done in sealed tanks, At the same time, they also provide these algae with many other important nutrients for them to grow better, and also faster. And the temperatures in these tanks are basically controlled, very much controlled. They are within the range of 28 to 35 degrees Celsius, So, and another important thing here is, everything is in sterile conditions. So basically, the most important word here is sterile, strictly sterile, so there is no contamination of any viruses or any bacteria. It's only supposed to be purely chlorella.
I want to remind my listeners that if they have any questions for us right now on this cultivation process of chlorella, or of chlorella in general, if you have any questions, give us a ring right now. 669-11938 is my studio hotline. My phone lines are open, 669-11938, and you can address your question to Dr. Haresh as we talk more about the chlorella right here on your chlorella series on Body and Soul. Dr. Haresh, so if it is this sterile condition and controlled in many other cases, because we can control the situation a lot better, perhaps, does that result in perhaps chlorella of better or higher quality?
Yes, of course. Once you can control the environment in which you grow or cultivate the chlorella, you can really play around. Actually, what happens is the quality of chlorella produced is also enhanced. Where normally if we do a comparison between outdoor and indoor chlorella, we can see that the indoor chlorella has got much more higher chlorophyll content than the outdoor chlorella, because they receive adequate amount of nutrients, adequate amounts of things, minerals like magnesium, which is the main element in chlorella. Not only that, the indoor chlorella also has got much more vitamin C, much more beta carotene, and today they even have got the high calcium indoor chlorella. So as we can see here now, that the indoor chlorella and the outdoor chlorella, there are a lot of benefits in the indoor chlorella as compared to the outdoor chlorella.
You mentioned even a version with high calcium. Is that naturally occurring chlorella?
Yes, because what happens is when they feed, because I told you because it's the tank, what happens is all of this is the sealed tank, so they give all these chlorella cells, they give them inorganic minerals. So one of the minerals which are given to them while they're growing is also calcium. So these chlorella cells actually absorb the calcium and make this calcium part of their cell.
Fantastic.
So when we compare a chlorella cell of an indoor cultivated and a chlorella cell of an outdoor cultivated, the chlorella of an indoor cultivated has got higher calcium content than the chlorella of the outdoor cultivated.
What about the cell density? Why is it important that heterotrophic culturing of chlorella actually produces higher cell densities? Why is that better?
Now, once you have higher cell densities, basically what happens is, this helps in two ways. Number one, the production is better because you can get a higher mass of production in a shorter amount of time. And the second good thing about this is it reduces the harvesting efforts. Because when the cells are dense, dense means they are in high population. They really grow a lot of them. The numbers are very high. Harvesting becomes much more easy. Harvesting of the chlorella cells, because harvesting it doesn't end there. After harvesting, we also have got processing. So when the density is very low, harvesting becomes very difficult. There's a lot of effort spent in harvesting, and it can even become a procedure which involves high costs. So the most important thing here is high cell densities promise two things. Number one, we can get the promised production that we want in that particular amount of time. And number two, the harvesting efforts are also reduced.
Dr. Haresh, is this vastly different from the quality of chlorella that perhaps people were used to getting in the past when, outdoor methods were used? The huge advantage, obviously, like you said, sterility, quality control. But is there any difference in terms of basically the kind of chlorella that it's being grown?
Yeah, I would say there would be some important or significant differences between the heterotrophic indoor cultivated chlorella and the outdoor. Basically, let's look at some of the important characteristics like safety, the first one. Now, basically, whenever we talk about indoor chlorella, cultivated, it is 100% safe because whatever they feed to the chlorella cell, everything is inspected thoroughly. From the water to the inorganic nutrients, which is fed, everything is controlled, everything is checked thoroughly, because it is free of pollutant. So the safety of the indoor chlorella is definitely 100% guaranteed. Now, the outdoor chlorella, it may be questionable because we do not know in what kind of atmosphere it is growing. What is the nearby vicinity activity? We do not know. How much of quality control is actually implemented? So that is the first issue here, the issue of safety. Then the second issue here is the amount of nutrients present in the chlorella. When we talk about indoor chlorella, it is standard. Now all the batches I would say they are identical because the amount of nutrients, is high and is stable. It's always the same because they control the amount of temperature, moisture, and nutrient fed to the chlorella cells. Now, in outdoor chlorella, there may be some differences from batch to batch because it all depends on the weather outside. So there may be some differences there in the outdoor chlorella.
So better consistency here is a big factor.
You will definitely see in the indoor cultivated chlorella.
Okay. We're going to find out more just ahead when we continue talking to my guest today, Associate Professor Haresh Kumar Kantilal from the Faculty of Medicine at Masa University College in KL, Malaysia. He's got a background in the areas of research in microbiology, medical science, and nutrition. Joining me on the Chlorella series right here on Body and Soul. Last segment coming up in just a bit. Stay with us on 938 Live.
Body and Soul.
938 Live. Welcome back to the program. Body and Soul presents the Chlorella series right here on 938 Live. Tune in every Monday as I continue my chats with Associate Professor Haresh Kumar Kantilal from the Faculty of Medicine at Masa University College in KL, Malaysia. If you have any quick questions about the nature of chlorella and your usage of it and how to consume it and whatnot, give us a ring, 669-11938 right now. Dr. Haresh, I want to talk to you about, the kind of chlorella that we generate from this. You've described to us the process of the indoor heterotrophic tanks and why this is fantastic in terms of not only the safety and the quality and the consistency of the produced chlorella, but also in terms of the nutritional composition of it. Sometimes it can be superior in terms of phytonutrient content even. Let's talk then about the actual outcome. I mean, a lot of people say that they've seen chlorella in different forms, in pills, in powder forms, for example. Have these, is it different? Does it matter what form it's in, is my question really?
Actually, what form is it is not really important. What is more important is how it's produced is more important because the nutrient content is very important. The safety issue is very important. These are the two things which are very important. Number one, the nutrient content must be consistent. It must be packed with nutrients, and number two, it must be safe for consumption. So whether it can come in powder form or it can come in capsule form or pill form, it doesn't matter. What is important is the safety and also the nutrients.
Okay. I'm looking at some of these statistics about the comparison of components between chlorella when it's grown indoors versus outdoors, and I'm really seeing marked differences, obviously, in the chlorophyll and the carotene and even the vitamin C levels. It's significant differences, aren't there?
Yes, there's significant differences, as I just told you, okay, in the chlorophyll, beta-carotene, vitamin C, calcium, okay, and even in the extract of the chlorella, what we have, the chlorella growth factor, CGF, okay, is much, much more higher when we talk about chlorella, which is grown using the heterotrophic indoor cultivation.
So what does it mean also when we say that their phytonutrient levels are higher and more stable? Because we know about the carotenoids and the chlorophyll, that's what we're looking for often in chlorella. What does it mean when we say that it's high and stable levels?
No, once the phytonutrient levels are higher and in stable level, that means the first most important thing here is the body receives a higher amount of nutrient. Okay, the body receives a higher amount of nutrient, and this chlorella comes in a form, okay, which comes in a pill form. The moment you ingest it, okay, it goes into your gut or your gastrointestinal system, and this makes it, okay, at the same time it is highly bioavailable. Okay, it is highly bioavailable. So what happens is our body is able to absorb this chlorophyll, this beta-carotene, and all these phytonutrients, okay, because number one, they are bioavailable, they can easily be absorbed, and number two, their concentration is higher. So once your body can absorb them, your body can assimilate them. Assimilate means they put them into your system, your tissues, your cells. And once it can go to the cell level, that's where we start seeing results.
Well, that's what we really want to see, making it so much better for the body. My final question for you, Dr. Haresh, I mean, you've explained to us this new the process of indoor heterotrophic tanks, but is this not all chlorella is produced in this way, unfortunately? Are there still certain forms of chlorella that we would see cultivated using the traditional method, the old method?
Majority of the chlorella produced in the global scale, okay, the worldwide, okay, majority of them are still using the conventional or the old method known as the outdoor cultivation, okay, because that is the typical way where you grow them, okay, in open areas and everything, okay. That's most of the companies or most of the organization, they still use the conventional open air, what we call outdoor cultivation.
Oh dear, so we got to do our homework and look at the chlorella we're buying and find out how it is being cultivated.
Exactly, that's very important because you have to do some homework because it's something that you're putting into your system, okay? And you must make sure that when you put something into your system, you must make sure that it has got the nutrients that it promises on the label, and number two, it must be safe for consumption in the long term.
Dr. Haresh, I want to thank you for your time again on joining us on the Chlorella series.